Good evening for the second time. Please be seated. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming to my farewell bash. It was very kind of you to turn up. First thing I want to say is a big thank you for electing me as Mayor last year. It's been an honour and a privilege to carry out this role. There have been too many highlights to mention each one individually. However, Rob and I were talking outside, and one role that does stand out is citizenship ceremonies. There's a point within the ceremony where the people become citizens, and the sheer look of joy on their face is something to behold. I think Rob would agree with that.
I would.
It's brilliant. But the other standout event this year was making a little bit of history by being the first mayor to get married in office. So that was interesting. When I took on this role, I thought that I knew most of the things that are going on in the borough. However, when you do this, when you hold this position, you soon realise that you don't know half of what goes on out there. There's so many organisations doing such wonderful jobs out there, and it's really an interesting role to hold. And it's also interesting to sit up here and look down upon the assembled throng before me. And I think I jokingly said to some of you that you should, each one of you should sit up here for a while, because if you could see some of the antics that go on, you'd wonder why the electorate is so forbearing. But it's been a good year and I've enjoyed it. I've tried to raise the profile of the outlying parishes who often do not feel part of the borough for various reasons. I've had to delete half of my speech due to the further period. I would also like to thank Anne-Marie for her help and support and wish her well for the future, and I'm sorry that she's not here tonight. Who else stands out? Anne Hunter. Anne, where would I be without your wisdom, guidance and advice? And I'd like you to stand up a minute, please. There's one person who during council meetings is irreplaceable. Andy, you've been a constant voice on my shoulder, always guiding me and keeping me from putting my foot in it, most of the time. So I've got something for you as well.
Very much. I'll more pictures.
I'll come to you. I'd like to wish Andy all the best for the future as he moves on to a new role. And when I heard about it, I sent him an email saying I couldn't think of a better guy for the role, really. He's absolutely superb in the children's area. To Rob, my very able deputy, I wish you and John all the very best for the future. If you enjoy it half as much as we have, you will have a really fantastic year. I know people get tired of me saying this, but it is the best job ever. It's really wonderful. And to lastly, well not lastly, to all of you, thank you for putting up with me during council meetings. Lastly, to my wife, who has supported me, advised me, corrected me, scolded me, read drafts of speeches, told me I'd be a raving idiot if I said certain things. I could not have done it without your love and support. Thank you very much, sir. It's very good. But again, thank you all very much for the honour you bestowed on me last year. I'm really grateful and humbled. Thank you. And that's the main bit of the evening. I have to ask for nominations for mayor. Do I have a proposer? Charlotte, would you like to stand up?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that Rob would want me to be brief. Rob, it is my very great privilege to be standing here tonight proposing you for the esteemed position of Mayor of Wokingham Borough. When I joined this council in 2010, you were already an experienced member of 8 years standing. Straight away, you generously took me under your wing and pointed me in the direction of the Corporate Parenting Board and mentored me around Children's Services, which was your portfolio at the time. Rob, it is remarkable that you have given this borough so much of your time and energy, and especially to our children and young people over the past 15 years, including some of the toughest times when you served on the executive leading Children's Services and being a key part of the team that took this local authority out of being inadequate, the fastest transformation the Department for Education had ever seen at that time. Characteristically, sharing your knowledge and wisdom, you then went on to peer mentor and take on peer challenges in other authorities, all of which I have little doubt will have used your advice and your guidance to improve their services that they deliver for their children and young people. But of course, not everything has always run smoothly. And in the early days, when Ofsted had just delivered their damning report of Children's Services, Rob was drafted in, and there was work to do in keeping the relevant minister abreast of our situation. So Rob, and the then Chief Executive Susan Law, and the leader Deputy Lee, were summarily hauled before the Minister of Education at the Department for Education. But with just 5 minutes to go before this crucial meeting, Rob had to answer the call of nature. David waited patiently outside and waited and waited and waited until finally ascertaining that, in fact, the lock on the gents' door had totally bust. Rob couldn't get out. The janitor was hastily sent for, but to no avail, and so the screwdriver was passed under the door, and Rob undid all of the screws on the inside and took off the lock, placing the offending item in the janitor's hand before making his way into battle. Someone had thoughtfully informed the minister as to what had gone on. Rob was greeted with, "Pleased to see you got out. I know here you've taken the door to pieces too." The ice was now broken, as was the lock. This incident highlights two qualities: practical resourcefulness in a tight corner, and the ability to turn a potentially embarrassing situation into a triumph of diplomacy. Both will stand Rob in good stead for the 12 months ahead. Rounding off this proposal on a more serious note, I know that Rob will be the most gracious of mayors. He has the greatest gift for listening to people, making everybody feel that they're the most important person in the whole room, and making us all feel happy about life. I know that Rob will take these qualities out to every one of his engagements across the borough, and we can all look forward to the joy that he will surely bring to so many in the year ahead.
Thank you, Sean. Do we have a seconder, please? Do you wish to say anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I'd just like to add a couple of things for Rob. Having known him for all the time he's been here, delighted to propose to second him as the 11th Mayor. I'm just worried that both of you actually, there's no space on the board for you outside there. I'm sure that will be covered. I'm especially delighted for Rob, considering the serious illness he suffered some time ago, that he's now fit enough to come and have this honour, and I do hope that sustains. The times I've seen Rob in his role as Deputy Mayor gives me great confidence about it. I'm not so sure about his skill with the tennis racket from last weekend, there you go. So, sorry about the fact that you're a Chelsea supporter, but hasn't he done well for our man from Chiswick? So I'm very delighted to second you for the role of mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. At this point, I have to ask if there are any further nominations, but it does come with a warning that there are snipers positioned in the gallery up in the
I don't have another nomination, but I would like to speak.
Please carry on.
I'd just like to say from the Liberal Democrat group that we're very pleased for Rob to be mayor. We think he's a real gent, and we hope he enjoys his year.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I ask then for a show of hands in support of the nomination of Councillor Stanton as mayor? Those against? I'm therefore delighted to announce that Councillor Rob Stanton be elected as mayor of Wokingham Borough Council for the 2017-18 municipal year. We'll go out there from the side. I'm just going to change. Speak amongst yourselves.
Anyone got a screwdriver?
I, Robert Stanton, having been duly elected to the office of Mayor of Wokingham Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties according to the best of my judgment and ability. Now I sign. The very best big pen. And the date being the 18th of May, the year of our Lord, 2017. I believe you now witness it, Mr. Chief Executive.
If I can, as a proper officer.
Proper officer.
It's done.
Okay. What do I do now? Speak. Okay. I'd like to be seated, members. Thank you very much. The Chief Executive has just reminded me I have 5 minutes. I can't think why he would do that. Members of the Council, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen. In true tradition, I will be brief. But not that brief tonight. Firstly, let me thank Charlotte Halton-Taylor, Councillor Taylor, for her tremendously, for her lovely, actually, nomination speech. So thank you very much for that, Charlotte. Very much appreciated. It is all true what she said about being locked in the loo. And Heather Thwaites will remember that because she was there as well. She was outside.
why drunkard.
But tonight, seriously, is a very special evening in my life. To be bestowed with the honour of being elected Mayor and first citizen of Wokingham is just an incredible event. Certainly one of life's great moments, alongside the 6th of September 1975, when I married Maureen in North Wales, where she comes from. And I bet there's not many of you in this chamber who have a marriage certificate all in Welsh. But I have. I can't understand a word it says, so I just assume I'm married. That a boy from Chiswick can be adopted by the historic market town in Royal Berkshire to be its mayor is a great privilege indeed. Maureen and myself, with our two young sons, Jeff and Ian, and I'm delighted both of them are here tonight, moved here in 1990 as my job had moved to London. After I retired from W.A. Smith, for whom I spent my career, we stayed on as we had made our home here and were keen for our son to settle into the community. We certainly made the right decision to stay here and enjoy the many amenities that Wokingham had to offer us. After a year off, which I enjoyed, I realised I needed to find a new interest, but unsure of what opportunities might be available for a clapped-out retailer. I looked at being a magistrate, being interested in law, but I suspect I would have quickly filled up the local prisons and not been popular, so I did not pursue that. A few weeks later, I attended a political meeting and I found myself sitting next to the MP. I think it was a plant. Because of that, I got hooked. This resulted in me standing for council in 2002, and I have been here ever since. I've had many roles in this council, far too many to list, but I guess my favourite was Children's Services, which Charlotte alluded to. I well remember taking this role on. It was all David Lee's idea, as the council had set up Ofsted, and I found myself with the need to propel it back from a difficult situation, knowing I needed a good director of Children's Services. That was, of course, Andy Coldick on my left here, and he was a great find for this council. He's done it in sterling service. Looking forward, as always, is my style. And this year I want to fully contribute to the success of WBC and to inform our residents just what a fantastic job you all do on their behalf on very limited funds. You all work so hard and you deserve the credit. Your success is clear to see in that Wokingham is always in the list of best places to live. We need to also care for those less fortunate who may be unwell or have a serious family problem, and we will always need compassion and be prepared to help. And I will be happy to help you do that. Members, as you are aware, and Angus, Councillor Ross, a very old friend of mine, alluded to 2 years ago I had a serious cancer problem. I just want to place on public record my grateful thanks to all those who supported me through that difficult time. They include many colleagues in this chamber tonight, the excellent surgeons and their teams at the Royal Berkshire Hospital, and my family, Jeff Ian, and the love of my life, Maureen. I will announce my charities in item 8 in the council agenda. Thank you very much, members. Thank you. Thank you for that. And now a few words to the outgoing mayor. Where is he? Hasn't escaped yet. Yeah. Well, I just want to outline to you, actually I've got the wrong sheet here, outgoing mayor. Just before you escape, it starts, I just want to say a few words to you in thanks. This is the mayor, the first in many years, who got married in the town hall last September, and Maureen and I had the privilege of being amongst your guests. It was a grand occasion indeed, with a magnificent choir who did a wonderful job in celebration. They were so good, I was quite taken with them, and I found that I wanted to go and talk to them, and I asked them if they did funerals. Yes, she said, it's our specialism. It is true to say I decided there and then to book them for myself, but that I would have to advise them of the date later. And I often see them around the borough and I remind them, and it'll be Jerusalem and you can all come and sing it.
Thank you.
Pitts.
Oh, you want me to? Sorry, I was waiting for someone to say something.
It's the first time you've ever sat quiet. Right down. Do I put this on you?
Or do you want to kneel down?
Ah! Yeah, I think I'm going to do this up, but... How does this work, man? You know what the mayor just asked me? The outgoing mayor. Haven't I done a bra before? Okay. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll come downstairs. Because I'm sure.
Well, you should stay up there. Just turn around this way.
Now you're wanted. Like really special. God bless you. Thank you for everything you've done. Switch around. It is, isn't it? Good. Oh, Prezi got a Prezi.
That's a big check.
For you, no doubt. Good luck. Well done, mate. Well done. You are then. Good day. Sorry? Why Right, okay. Thank you, members. Am I switched on? Yes, I am. Do we have any nominations for the role of Deputy Mayor for the next municipal year? I am. I still have to ask the question. Well, I am going to nominate for the Deputy Mayor. And I've got it here. I would like to nominate Councillor John Carter for the office of Deputy Mayor for the municipal year 2017-18. I have known John before he became a council member as a parish council member in Borough. We met over a planning dispute, you may remember, John. Can you remember fighting over a planning issue? Everything, what next? And when we were, can you believe we were fighting over the current core strategy? And I must say, we did not agree on much on that day, as we snapped at each other all day. However, what we did do was recognise respect for each other's view, and that quickly developed into a friendship and a meeting of minds. When John became the WBC council member for Borough, in effect my next door neighbour, we quickly worked up a very professional relationship, and I became very aware of his huge ability. John has great experience in this council. He is always very involved and will make a great ambassador for WBC. He is wise and effective and fun all needed, all in the job to be sure. I would ask the council to fully support John. He will be a fine deputy mayor, and I'm delighted he has accepted this challenge to support me, and that's bravery, I tell you, and to represent WBC in the community as my deputy. Do we have a seconder? We have a seconder, Charlotte. Would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and may I be the first to congratulate you on your new role.
Thank you very much.
I'm delighted to second John as Deputy Mayor, your Deputy Mayor for this year. John and his wife Jill and their family have been part of this community for 30 years, and John has served tirelessly on this council for 6 years in many different roles and capacities, working right across the borough. As an ex-police officer and a car enthusiast, I'm not sure being given the role of highways brief is a blessing or a curse. John, you've always strived to see this authority succeed on every level, and I know you'll be the most tremendous support to Rob over the next 12 months. I wish you every success in your job as Rob's second in command.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Are there any further nominations for the role of Deputy Mayor for the next municipal year? There being none, can I ask for your support? Would you vote in favour of John Kaiser being Deputy Mayor? Yep, that looks unanimous. Thank you very much. John, you are Deputy Mayor. I forgot my wife. God help me now. Are you ready? Very well. Yep. I think I'd better crown my consonant. Maureen, would you like to? Here she is. The consort. I forgot you. I left you out. You never forgive me. Under here. Okay. Another lovely one. If my mum can see me now. And now, the Deputy Consul. Julian, are you ready? That's having the Queen, isn't it? Thank you. Have you met this man before? Deputy man. You're taking me, you know. Are we done? Thank you. Right.
I declare I take the office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it accordingly to the best of my judgment and ability.
I'm now going to ask the new elected Deputy Mayor to speak to the Council. Thank you, John.
Thank you, everybody. You're the familiar faces. You don't look any better from up here, let me tell you. I've lived in the borough for over 30 years, and during that time, my wife and I brought up 3 children, and we now have our first grandchild, who also lives in the borough. I've been a parish councillor for 10 years and served on the borough for nearly 7. My mother lives in the borough, as does my sister, having moved from London many years ago. We enjoy the benefits that come from living in Wokingham. Over the years, Wokingham has provided my family a place where my children have received an excellent standard of state education and benefited from the services and amenity available throughout the borough. I am proud of Wokingham Borough and all it has to offer, and this is the reason why I'm taking this role as Deputy Mayor. It is so I can promote all the good about the borough and shine a light on the dedicated work put in by councillors of all political persuasions, the people who supply and support the services we all take for granted, such as health, education and police, as well as those who work with and for charities, giving up their free time to help others, and of course to represent all the residents who live and work in the borough. I also look forward to supporting my friend and colleague, Councillor Rob Stanton, in his well-deserved role as Mayor for the coming year, given as he has many years of service to the Council and the residents of the borough. I thank you all for this great opportunity you have afforded me by allowing me to take the role of Deputy Mayor for the Wokingham Borough, a role I intend to carry out to the best of my ability without fear or favour. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Right, members, just a few general housekeeping notes now, just before we move into the meeting. Meeting has started, but the business of the evening. First of all, just to remind you that the meeting is being filmed tonight, if you haven't noticed. It is being filmed. We are, though, quite importantly, in a purdah period. As you know, there is a general election on the 8th of June, so I must ask members to refrain from political speeches this evening. We need to just stick to local issues and be mindful of what we are saying. We cannot be grandstanding or canvassing tonight. If we do that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop there. On a more cheerful note, I hope you will join myself and Maureen in the David Hicks room, where we have bought dozens and dozens of bottles of wine. Actually, Tesco's shelves are quite empty, and they're all in the David Hicks room, so I hope you will join us for a glass of wine. The other thing I want to just remind you that as this is the annual council, it is actually due to finish at 9 p.m. and it's probably gone 8 p.m. now, so we're going to have to be careful with our time, manage our time carefully. But we do have to get through all the business of the evening. So without any further ado, I will then just remind those visitors that we have. There are many. It's lovely to see them all, and I'm so proud that they're here. But they don't have to stay. I'm sure they would want to stay to enjoy the thrill of a council meeting, but they can leave if they wish to. But on the other hand, the guests can stay for a drink with the mayor and the deputy mayor afterwards if they so wish. Right, turning to the agenda, members, do we have any apologies for the meeting?
We do, Mr Mayor. We have apologies from Councillor Forty, Councillor Baker, Councillor Blumenthal, Councillor Bray, Councillor Housel, Councillor Hobbs, Councillor Lloyd and Councillor Paul Swan.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Minutes of the previous meeting show on page 11 on the agenda. Can you sign those as approved set of minutes for the council meeting which was held on the 23rd of March 2017? Those in favour? That's accepted. Thank you very much. Are there any declarations of interest on items on the agenda this evening? There being none, we can move to public question time. The first question on the agenda has been withdrawn, so we'll go straight to Susan Tinsley. No, we won't. We'll go to Guy Grandison first. He has a question for the council. Guy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I congratulate you on your new role? I can't think of anyone better for it. My first opinion. In the essence of time, I'd just like to ask, standing in the question of my name to the Executive Member for Resident Services.
Thank you very much, Gareth. The new self-service kiosks were introduced in 6 libraries at the beginning of April 2017, and they're already becoming very popular with library users. Since their introduction at the Lower Early Library, 20% of transactions, which is issues, returns, etc., have been done via the kiosks, which across all 10 boroughs' libraries, 22% of all transactions have been done via the kiosks. These are very encouraging statistics for the library service, and we would hope that these numbers increase as people become more familiar with the kiosks. They're particularly helpful in that they allow the librarians to spend time with individual residents, helping with queries, giving them advice on various things, and generally talking to them rather than spending their time handling books. So in terms of library usage last year, we had a small increase in the number of people using and visiting our libraries. Just over 25,000 people actively used the library to borrow an item, whilst in total we had just over 476,000 visits to our libraries. It's a little early to expect to see an increase in usage because of the kiosks, but they're certainly already making a valuable contribution, as I mentioned, to the efficient operation of the library service and giving the librarian staff the extra time they need to really add value for the community.
Thank you, Paul. Do you have a supplementary, Guy?
I do. Thank you very much for that. So I do have supplementary. I will remove parts of it due to what's going on in the country. Will you continue to invest in libraries in the borough?
We've got a very good record in libraries in Wokingham. During my tenure, we've extended the library's hours through improvements in terms of cost effectiveness. Previously, we actually introduced a new library in Finchhamstead. I'm very hopeful that we will continue to expand the library service because I believe it's popular. It's adapting itself to the new ways of using libraries. It provides a lot of additional social services as well as just pure book lending, and I think people really do enjoy the libraries. We're certainly increasing footfall, and I would like to see that increase in the future.
Thank you very much. Now we have a question, a second question for Susan Tinsley. Would you like to ask your question? Tinsley. My apologies. I'm a new mayor.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My question is to the Executive Member for Planning and Regeneration, who is Mark Ashford.
Just ask your question.
Okay. Under what circumstances can Wokingham Borough Council officers agree at the pre-planning stage to a planning application for a quarry and cement factory to proceed in advance of the new Central and Eastern Berkshire Joint Minerals and Waste Plan that is currently being considered? I ask the question because one of the stated aims of the new Minerals and Waste Plan is that all sites will be considered holistically across the whole plan area to ensure that the best strategy can be achieved. I'm unclear as to how this could actually be achieved if agreement has already been given, in principle, to go ahead with an individual planning application that should evidently be part of the bigger regional consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You take it as well?
I am. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Susan, for your question, and thanks for your patience in waiting so long to ask it tonight. As you can see on our website, with most local planning authorities, Wokingham Borough offers a discretionary, chargeable, informal, without prejudice and confidential pre-application advice process. And through experience, and as a matter of best practice, we've found that this self-funding service generally improves the quality of submissions made by applicants, so that when the council consults on and considers them, there will be a better overall process in the wider public interest. The process will include advising upon the policies applying at the time, or as commented by you, the transitional period and the process to which the process may apply. No formal determination is ever secured via our pre-application submission. Any applicant can submit a planning application to the local planning authority whose duty it is to determine this within the statutory or other agreed timescales. In this case, in the case of this application, the matter will be determined by the Council's Planning Committee. And in the interim, a new mineral and waste local plan is being prepared, and subject to executive approval, consultation on the issues and options will commence in June this year, next month. The current application will be assessed in line with national planning policy. And next month, will be assessed in line with Council's planning policy. This will be subject to separate assessment, and the decision-making process will go through Council's planning committee, and it will be considered based upon the policies which apply at the time of determination. However, it's likely that a determination will not be possible in this case until early 2018, given the amount of information required to reach a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have a supplementary?
Yeah, just a very brief one. I did read through the written statement from CMEX. Oh, sorry, I'm not allowed to mention any application. I did read through a written statement that advice was, there was no mention of the waiting for the new minerals plan. Would that be normal not to at least include some advice that there is a new plan coming up?
Mark, will you take that?
Yes, it would. That wouldn't come under the pre-application advice in any way. Was that a statement from the party, was it?
Yes.
Themselves? Yes. That would be normal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any petitions to hand in this evening from members? There are no petitions? No? Now, interest of time this evening, I'm going to actually take this issue forward to the July council meeting. But I just want to outline my plan for mayoral charities for this year ahead. But we'll bring back the full details in July when we have a little more time. But I do intend to support two important areas which I consider to be great causes. They are very diverse, but they're very dear to my heart, and I hope yours. I plan to support cancer care at the Royal Berks Hospital, who saved my life. I will couple that with a cancer charity who are setting up cancer champions, and I will also certainly support some charity towards children with special needs. But I've got to get some more details on that, but I will make you a full report on that in July. But in the interest of tonight, I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, members. Now we come to the election of the leader of the council. So, do we have any nominations? This is item 9. Do we have any nominations for leader of Wokingham Borough Council for the next 4 years? We do. Councillor David Lane.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Mr. Mayor. You really stood that well. I'm delighted to propose Charlotte Haytham-Taylor as our new leader. Charlotte has gained great experience in this council. She jumped feet first into looking after children after, as she explained, you had driven it forward. She has got a great experience of the council, and I'm sure will do a great job in taking this council forward. And I would just like to mention that this is actually the year of the female, as we have a female leader in Scotland by the name of Nicola Sturgeon. We've got Leanne Wood in Wales. We've got 2 actually in Northern Ireland. I can't remember their names, it's been so long since I've been there. And of course we've got another one who's currently in Downing Street called Theresa May, who happens to be one of the MPs that fall into this borough. So Charlotte, I think, makes up the complete picture, and I'm absolutely certain she'll be driving this council forward. She's a very caring individual, and hopefully won't be too hard on most of us, but I'm sure she'll be diplomatically pointing at the error of our ways at times. So I'm delighted to be proposing Charlotte as leader of this council.
Thank you very much, David. Do we have a seconder? We do, Stuart. Do you want to speak?
If I may, briefly, Mr. Mayor, congratulations
That's
also.
good.
Can I just say, delighted to second Charlotte and echo all of what David has just said. And I wish Charlotte every success. But I'd just like to say one thing, and that is that I think Charlotte may have her eye on another chamber one day, but in the short term, in the next 5 years, it's Westminster's boss and Wokingham's game.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Okay, members, can I see those in favour of Charlotte Haytham-Taylor being the leader of the council? Those in favour, please show. Keep your hands up. Thank you very much. Are there any against? Abstention? There is one against.
Yeah, got to be one.
Got to be one. Noted. Are there any abstentions?
Yeah, the rest of us.
Liberal group. Okay. Thank you very much, members. In that case, we have gone to the vote. We have a vote. Charlotte, you are the leader of the council. Congratulations to you. Okay, we are just following the agenda here. Charlotte, I think you have 10 minutes to address the council between the whole executive, but I think it's only you taking the chair. So, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before laying out my new executive tonight, I'd first like to say a few words about Andy Coulbert, our Chief Executive. As many of you now will be aware, Andy was approached by the Department for Education to go and be the Chief Executive of Birmingham's First Children's Trust. Andy came to Wokingham in 2009 to turn our children's services around, which he did with aplomb, and with such skill and tenacity that this has earned him national recognition. Andy then moved up to the role of Chief Executive under the then leader, Councillor David Lee. Andy has been an outstanding Chief Executive, and with his background in social work, has been of the greatest help in building relationships with our partners and keeping this council focused on what are the really critical elements in keeping our most vulnerable safe and our community prospering as a whole. I'm sorry that in my new role I'll only have a few months to work with you, Andy, and in leading the council, but I'm excited that you're going back to your roots and to your vocation. And I know that you'll bring about the really vital changes that are needed for children and young people in Birmingham in your new and very challenging role. I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the council to wish you the very best of luck in your new job and put on record my sincerest thanks for your dedication and commitment to all of our residents here in this borough and especially for our children. I'd like to pay a special tribute also to Councillor Baker tonight for his 3 years as leader of this authority. He is the architect of the 21st Century Council, the merger of Optilis with our neighbours in the Royal Borough, and he started a number of huge capital programmes and projects investing in new leisure facilities, roads and affordable homes. He always showed tremendous devotion to this role and commitment in getting the best for our borough. I'd most humbly like to thank my colleagues here tonight for electing me to lead this council. I'm sincerely grateful for all of your support and the confidence that you've placed in me. I'll endeavour to serve this borough to the very greatest of my abilities. Now I'd like to take you through my executive. Councillor Julian McGee-Sumner will be executive member for Adult Services, Health, Wellbeing and Housing, and deputising for him will be Councillor Richard Delinsky. Julian is continuing with his responsibilities from last year, and I'm pleased that Richard will be bringing his knowledge from Children's Services into his new role, where I'm certain he'll make a great impact. Councillor Mark Ashwell, Executive Member for Children's Services, and deputising him will be Alison Swallow. These executive titles remain the same from last year. Both Mark and Alison have served before in the executive and deputy roles respectively, and have already wasted no time in getting stuck in. Councillor Norman Jorgensen will be the Executive Member for Environment, Sports, Leisure and Libraries, and deputising for him will be Councillor Michael Clemenger. Both of these members bring a great wealth of experience to these roles, having both served for numerous years in this council in many different positions. Councillor Stuart Munro, Executive Member for Business and Economic Development and Regeneration, and deputising for him will be Councillor Philip Murphy. This portfolio creates a new focus on the aspects of business and economic development. Aspects of the old finance role. Going forward, I strongly believe that this council needs to look for innovative ways to be self-sufficient, and having a dedicated member to engage with our thriving business community will be crucial to our success in the next few years. Councillor Oliver Whittle will be the Executive Member for Finance, 21st Century Council, Internal Services and Human Resources. And deputising for him will be Charles Margetts. Both of these two members bring an abundance of skills from business and from finance from their careers, together with fresh insight to take this council through these exciting but challenging times. Councillor Simon Weeks will be the Executive Member for Planning and Enforcement, and I'm delighted that Simon will be returning to the Executive. And I know that his experience in planning from his years chairing the Planning Committee will be a great asset to my team. Councillor Chris Bowering will be the Executive Member for Highways and for Transport. With his many years on the Planning Committee too, and his Deputy Executive Member experience, he'll be able to use his knowledge of highways to bring sensible solutions to the issues we all face day to day in getting about the borough. And Councillor David Lee will be the Executive Member for Strategic Highways and Planning and Deputy Leader. I'm pleased that this council will have David at the table when we embark on creating our new local plan. This is a new role in the Executive because of the sheer enormity and importance placed upon getting this right for not only our existing residents, but those who will be our residents in the years to come. David, as someone who has been leader himself, will be able to make a very able deputy, and it is now a great honour to have him on my Executive, especially as he took a great leap of faith in 2012 when he put me in his team. And Councillor Pauline Jorgensen, Deputy Executive Member for Communications. With her expertise in this field and the significant scale of changes that the 21st Century Council will bring, we will need to ensure that our communications are a two-way street. Our residents must be able to tell us effectively what they need, and we must be able to successfully communicate to them in real time across all media channels. I'm sure that it cannot have escaped your notice that we're in the middle of a general election campaign. Per the rules means that we cannot be over political tonight, and I'm going to avoid talking about what's happening in the hustings. Instead, I want to speak to you about one of my key priorities as leader. My job is to act in the interests of all residents across the whole of the borough, but there are many of those who need particular attention and focus. I want to use the privilege afforded to my new role to focus on raising awareness to domestic abuse, which I know affects many families in our area who are often too afraid to come forward for help because of the perceived social stigma. I want to use this time as leader to make it clear that support is available to help our families find a way out of difficult and complex situations. I want to be a leader who will tackle these challenges in our community head on. There can be no doubt, together as a council, we are facing great adversity, which this borough has not faced before, but I believe that no difficulty which we might find on our path will be unsurmountable. My executive, my colleagues and I have the drive to take this authority forward for our residents, to make the council self-sufficient, address funding and housing issues, and ensure that our borough remains a great place to live and to do business.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. May I also send my congratulations to you for being appointed leader of the council. Look forward to working with you. Congratulations. Thank you. Lindsay, I think you would like to speak.
Thank you. I should like to congratulate Charlotte on her new role as leader of the council and wish Andy Coldrick all the best when he takes up his role as head of the newly formed children's body in Birmingham, I believe, next August. I should also like to congratulate the outgoing mayor for his work last year and hope the mayor has a good year. Over the past months, I have regularly been asked by residents, and what would you do if you ran the council? So here are a few measures we would introduce. I've tried to be careful with my word. We would initiate a moratorium on the whole of the Wokingham Town Centre regeneration project. We know some areas have already been contracted, but where they have not, we will review, and in particular we would stop any building on the green spaces of Elmfield and would install services for events on the field. 2. The level of council debt forecast is worryingly high and we have doubts whether they are achievable. A thorough review of this debt would be instigated. It would be totally unacceptable if any of this projected debt were to fall on residents. We would immediately accept recommendation 3 as proposed by the independent remuneration panel last autumn. No councillor should be allowed to receive more than one paid special responsibility allowance, and this includes the NEDs and outside bodies. We would reduce the budget associated with temporary staff by £600,000 per annum. We feel it is totally unacceptable to have a temporary staff paid up to £891 per day, irrespective of whether the council receives some back at a time of severe cutbacks. We would use this £600,000 to fund frontline services. In particular, we would reintroduce the school patrol services we recently cut, and we would protect those school patrols that are still under threat. The safety of our children are paramount. We will fiercely fight over development of our borough.
Yes, we have a member standing.
Sorry, it just sounds like a manifesto being read out, Mr. Mayor.
I
cannot see that it's anything else. It's explaining what money will be spent on. My understanding is that will be a manifesto.
Thank you, Councillor.
I would like to say...
Well, just a minute, Lindsay. I did warn on further. We have a member concerned. Would you please be very careful in the way you address the council tonight?
I've tried to be careful with my wording, and also I had suggested that these speeches were put back to the July council meeting. It had been agreed with the previous leader, but Charlotte wanted to speak tonight, so this is my one opportunity to speak in the year other than at the budget meeting, and I have tried to keep to council issues, and I have not strayed into wider issues. And I checked with Democratic Services who said provided I can... well, we thought you were taking the intervention. I would say we would continue to lobby for fair funding of our schools. We will fiercely fight over the development of our borough.
Anything we have another member?
Sorry, fair funding for schools is clearly a political issue. You've clearly breaking per that. Stick to the rules.
I apologise on that one.
Lindsay, look, I think it's quite clear there's very uneasy with members here. So will you please stick away from politics and complete your address quickly, please?
Well, I've tried to give a couple of you a number of issues of where, as the leader of the opposition, have an opportunity to present alternatives to the ruling group. I've tried. I admit the fair funding one was an issue. I did accept that, but I wanted to try and just say we had some alternative views forward of where we would do, and I've tried to stick that with one exception. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Now, members, you just heard the difficulty there, so I remind you, whoever speaks, there's further on, there was a general election on the 8th of June. So be mindful. We can now go to members' questions, I think. Yeah, we can. So the first member's question is Shahid. Shahid Jonas, would you like to ask your question?
Thank you, Chair. My question is for the Executive of Children's Services. Can the Executive member update the members regarding the work which is being done to secure fair funding for our schools?
Thank you, Councillor Evans, for your question.
Hang on, we've got a member standing.
Say it again, it's a political issue.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a political question, Shahid. That is part of the general election campaign, fair funding. And will members please be careful? I know this is very difficult, it's very difficult for me as well, but be careful. Right. Charles?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations on your new role. Can the Executive Member for Highways please provide an update on the start of the Northern Distributor Road at Coppet Beach?
Who's taking that? David?
Thank you very much. Hopefully it's not political. The Council is not constructing this section of the Northern Distributor Road, and no definitive programme has been submitted by the developer to date for the proposed build-out of the site access. A formal request has been made by the developer through their submitted construction management plan for a temporary site access of the A329 London Road, and Council officers have advised the process for achieving this. Once constructed, the temporary access will enable the developer to start building the Northern Distributor Road from within their site. Council officers are working closely with the developers to finalise the detailed highway design, which will then be secured through a legal agreement prior to the works commencing.
Thank you, David. Do you have a supplementary, Charles?
I do, yes, thank you. David, does this not show that whilst the Council can give consent for new roads and new houses, it cannot control the speed with which they're actually built? And that's completely at the mercy of the developer.
Developers have always driven their own building programme based on their commercial judgment, and to this extent we are in their hands over timing. Any related infrastructure or funding would, however, only be necessary to mitigate the development when it is occupied, and as such any delay will not normally be harmful. However, this is something I will be looking at as delays we are experiencing are not acceptable.
Thank you very much. Eula Carving Clark?
Thank you, Your Worship, and may I also congratulate you on your role. I would like to ask Chris Bowering, who is the Executive Member for Highways, what is being done to produce a parking strategy for Wokingham Borough?
Thank you very much. Who's taking that? David? David, please.
Thank you very much for the question. A member and officer working group was formed in February 17 to progress this important initiative for the Council. It is a complex project with many interdependencies across the Council. However, despite this, it is expected that a draft strategy will be agreed by this working group by the end of 2017. Following that, the draft will be consulted upon widely, amended as appropriate, and ultimately agreed by the Executive Committee to allow it to be formally adopted, enabling it to form parking policies within Wokingham.
Do you have a supplementary, you regarding?
No, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. Now, there are 3 questions on the question sheet tonight, which we believe is breaking code. So I will not ask Tim Holton, Michael Furmager or Chris Smith to ask their questions. They are really political questions. We cannot listen. I'll move straight down to Philip Murphy.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask what is viewed as political about my question? It is just a simple clarification request on the council's finances.
Where's the question? The question says, could the Executive Member for Finance explain what a negative revenue support grant is and how it is affecting this council? We believe that involves the government, Chris, and I must ask you to bring that question back next council meeting. Thank you. Right, we now move on to Philip Murphy. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and my congratulations on your appointment this evening as well.
Thank you very much.
Could the Executive Member for Highways and Transport please explain give us an update, beg your pardon, on when the British Relief Road will be complete at its junction with the Northern District Road at Reading Road?
Thank you, Philip, for your question. May I be the 9th councillor to congratulate you, Mr. Mayor, on your appointment. The British Relief Road Phase 2 project is still relatively early in its development. It will deliver packages with other major highway infrastructure schemes for greater efficiency, ensuring value for money for residents. A preferred engineering solution for its junction with the A329 has been produced, which includes consultation with ward members and the local parish councils. The project team has also considered the linkage with the proposed roundabout junction with the new North Wokingham District Road. The construction, together of 2 junctions and associated infrastructure on either side of the motorway bridge, will provide greater benefit and efficiency to the council. This approach has resulted in the North Wokingham Distributor Road junction being incorporated into the Winnish Relief Road Phase 2 project.
Thank you very much. Do you have a supplementary?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My residents are very concerned, Councillor, as to when the Northern District Road will be completed, because this clearly is affecting Embrook residents, and I would like to have that.
Mr. Mayor, I appreciate the concerns, Councillor Murphy. Mr. Mayor, although the project is still being developed and subject to numerous risks, current projections suggest the project will be complete in summer 2021.
Thank you very much, Chris. John Jarvis, do you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations on your appointment as Mayor. Could I ask the Executive Member for Highways and Transport whether the Council's application for civil parking enforcement has been received by the Department for Transport?
Thank you, John. Mr. Mayor, Wokingham Borough Council's application adopts civil parking enforcement powers was received by the Department for Transport on Monday the 24th of April 2017.
Do you have a supplementary, John?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does the Executive Member have a date when approval is likely to be given, and how long after this will Wokingham Borough Council commence to enforce these parking restrictions?
Mr. Mayor, civil parking enforcement tender returns are being evaluated at the moment with an award proposed for this summer in June. Following that, successful parking provision for CPE will need to get fully resourced and mobilised to go live in October this year. The Council have prepared a detailed communication plan to ensure residents, business, town parish councils and elected members are kept fully informed of progress and timescales related to civil parking enforcement.
Thank you very much. We now move to Rachel Shepherd-Dubay. Are we in the house? We are.
I'll shorten the question to save time.
What is the reason for the delay in delivering the Winner's Relief Road and the increase in cost?
Simple one, Chris.
Perhaps there is no delay in delivering the Winner's Relief Road. That's in phase 2. All major road schemes and their associated projects have been merging into detailed programmes, the durations of which are set by the level of scheme development and the delivery requirements of each project. As development continues on major schemes, the highways team are also developing the overall delivery strategy for both pre-construction and construction phases. Historically, the estimate for the Winner's scheme and others was only delivered from the basic costs of other similar schemes elsewhere. In April 2016, the cost estimate of all major schemes was reviewed, which provided greater accuracy to the Council. However, scheme costs will continue to be refined and revised as scheme design progresses.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have a
Yes. What is the reason for the King Street Lane intersection part of the Winner's Relief Road delay right now and stopping it in the middle of the project rather than letting it finish?
I think I don't have that information. I have to get an answer back to you later. Sorry?
Yeah? Okay, thank you very much. Imogen, Shepherd, Dubai? Imogen.
Good evening. Congratulations as well.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I forgot to say congratulations. Just I forgot. Yes. At the moment, volunteers who give up their time and skills to be school governors are expected to attend meetings and training at Shoot End and pay for parking. While they have the option to claim for parking charges off the schools, most will not, as our schools are already being starved of funding. This seems utterly wrong to ask these volunteers who give up their time and pay for the privilege of being school governor. Why are we charging these parking fees to these volunteers? And surely it is within the council's ability to provide one-off permits for those attending these kinds of meetings or volunteer training at Shoot End. Thank you.
Four in a row, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm very sympathetic to Imogen's question. Those who volunteer are a very important part of our society, which really couldn't function without them, not just school governors, but many other carers that we have. Unfortunately, good as this suggestion is, I'm reluctant to accept it. The Highways and Transport team must show parity regarding car park charging regimes at Shoot End and all other car parks for that matter. Whilst school governors are volunteers, as you suggest, it would be up to the school to determine if they can reimburse any costs incurred by the school governors. This is consistent with the Council's approach with other voluntary organisations.
Thank you very much. Do you have a supplementary? You don't have to. No. You don't. Excellent. Right.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I just point out that this is a question on government policy, and therefore, if my question was withdrawn, I believe that Clive Jones also falls under that.
We will check that.
The Graysley issue is all over Clive's election literature.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
My apologies. The Graysley issue is all over Clive's election literature. So even though on the surface it's a local issue, Clive has made it, he's brought it into the permanent period, if you like, by campaigning on it. And something I forgot to say earlier, congratulations on being elected mayor.
I'll take the last bit first, so thank you very much. I think we all rule that question out, Clive. We'll be able to do that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. But may I add my congratulations to you? And whilst I've got the microphone on, can I also congratulate John Kaiser on being the Deputy Mayor? I think both of you will be a great team.
Thank you. Thank you from him. Okay. Now members, with the best will in the world, we're never going to complete the business tonight by 9 o'clock. But it is very important that we do complete the business tonight. So I'm going to propose now from the chair that we extend this council meeting to a maximum of 9:30. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
John Kaiser, second. Those in favour, please show. Don't be shy.
I don't mind.
I think that's the majority. Is there anybody against? No, that's carried. So was there anyone against? It doesn't make any difference. It was you. Oh, you got that vote. Okay, right. All right then. So we're now back to use to the political balance report, pages 51 to 62 in your agenda. And I think this is for you to table, Charlotte.
Reserve my right to speak.
Do you have a seconder? David Lee, do you want to speak? He does.
No, I'm just allowed to second this.
Would you like to second? Okay. Does anybody else wish to speak? Oh gosh, you've got the hint. Okay. You can speak if you wish to, Charlotte, or you're just happy to leave it. We'll go to the vote then. Okay. So again, this is the pages 51 to 62 in the agenda. Those in favour, please show. That's carried. Thank you. Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Council Committee, do we have a nominee? Don't we nominate? Okay, have you all got the covered pages? So it's the lilac pages that I'm looking at. Okay. So I think I can go straight to the vote. Those in favour of what is on the lilac pages, please.
I'm not sure what pages they are.
Right, okay.
Appendix 2.
Sorry about that, I never saw that. Yeah, can you help? You've not done it. Okay. Okay, right, I'm going to go straight to the vote on the lilac sheet, on Appendix 2, as we've identified. Those in favour, please show. That was for the... Okay. Those against? Any abstentions? Okay, keep your hand up. Okay. That's carried. Thank you very much, members. Now we move to the green sheet. Appendix 3, green. Panels, working groups. Sheet green. Okay, appointments to panels, working groups, joint committees, and various bodies. Okay. Okay, have you all got that, members? Can I see hands in favour of accepting that? That appears to be carried. Very much. Are there any abstentions? There is one. Has to be one. Okay, what's next? Now we're on to yellow, Appendix 4. And there are some contests on here. So we'll start with Age Concerned Twyford. We have two nominations for one position. It's either Lindsay Ferris. Those in favour for Lindsay Ferris to serve on Age Concerned Twyford district, please show. Those in favour for John Jarvis. As carried, John Jarvis is appointed. Finch Hampstead Baptist Church Advisory Board. Those in favour of Ian Pittock. There's one position here only. We have Ian Pittock. Those in favour, please show. And those in favour of Simon Weeks. That's carried. Simon Weeks is appointed. Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service, and I will do these in alphabetical order. And there are 5 nominations for 4 roles. So, first nomination is Alistair Alting. Those in favour of Alistair Alting? Thank you. Those in favour of Pauline Hellier-Simons. Pauline Hellier-Simons. Thank you. Philip Murphy. Those in favour of supporting Philip Murphy to serve on the Fire and Rescue Service. Thank you. Ian Pittock to serve on the Fire Service. Thank you very much. And lastly, Councillor Angus Ross. Okay. Yeah, okay members, well, we were elected to the Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Services, Alistair Alting, Pauline Hellier-Simons, Philip Murphy and Angus Ross. By a fairly large majority. Okay, so, no, we don't need that one. South East Employers, substitute members, substitute even. And there are 3 names in for 2 roles here. Lindsay Ferris. Those in favour of Lindsay Ferris? Thank you very much, members. Those in favour of Barry Patman? And those in favour of me? I hope I have time to go. Thank you very much. So, Barry and myself are nominated. South East Reserve Forces and Cadets Association and Armed Forces Champion. This sounds an exciting job, doesn't it, this one? We have 2 contenders for this 1 position. We have either Rachel Shepherd-Dubai. Those in favour of Rachel, please show.
She was in the forces as well.
And those in favour of David Slight, please show. David Slight is appointed. And the Woodley Town Centre Management Initiative. And we have 3 nominations for 2 roles here. 1, Keith Baker. Those in favour of Keith Baker. Those in favour of Andy Fry. And Kate Haynes. Okay, so Keith and Kate. Keith and Kate. So, are appointed. Okay, we move direct to the Woodley volunteer sector. We have two nominations for 1 position, and that is either Richard Delinsky, chauffeur Richard Delinsky, alternatively for Beth Rowland. Richard Delinsky has it.
It was
All the others
closer
on
then.
the yellow sheets. All the others on the yellow sheets, appendix 4, I'm going to take en bloc. There are no further contests in there, so can I see a show of hands to accept for the rest of appendix 4 yellow? That is covered. Thank you very, very much indeed. Good. Okay. We move to item 15, the health and wellbeing strategy. And I believe that's been proposed by Julian. There he is. Hello, Julian. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. May I apply congratulations to you and John as well, and may I say how resplendent you look in red, so obviously suits you. I'd like to propose agenda item 15, the health and wellbeing strategy for the years 2017 through to 2020, as detailed in your agenda.
Do we have a second? Sean, do you want to speak now or hold? Anybody else want to speak on this item? Okay, do you want to say anything at all, Sean? No, go for a vote. Okay, those in favour of the health and wellbeing strategy as laid out in the agenda, pages 70 to 82, in the council agenda, please show in favour. That is overwhelming. Health and Wellbeing Board Annual Report to Evangeline.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. You can't get enough of a good thing, I guess. I'd like to present agenda item 16, the Health and Wellbeing Annual Report for year 16-17.
And we have a seconder. Charlotte. Do you want to speak, Charlotte? Not needed. Okay, members. Does anybody else want to speak? Clearly not. Okay. In that case, we'll go straight to the vote. The Health and Wellbeing Board Annual Report, page 83, 88 in your agenda. Opposed and favour? Excellent. Thank you very much. That's carried. Last item, before the wine. Don't forget the wine. Appointment of independent persons, and it's been proposed by Charlotte Fulton-Taylor. Good night, Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Rob. I'd like to propose the appointment of the independent persons under the Localism Act 2011 as proposed in the papers, page 89 to 92.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Do we have a seconder? David.
I would like to second that appointment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other speakers? There being none, we'll go to the vote. Are those in favour of the appointment of the independent person as set out in the agenda 89 to 92? Please show in support. That is well carried. Thank you very much. I have to say that was impressive. That was you extended the meeting and we don't need to. So you took the warning well. Members, I just want to repeat, it's been a privilege to chair this tonight. I hope I haven't made too many faux pas. You're supposed to say no. But I do hope you'll join Rory tonight for a glass of, and it's in David Hicks' room. Okay, we have a new bar tonight. It's in David Hicks' room. So see you there in a few minutes. And if somebody gets in there first, please open the bottle of wine. Don't be shy.